Well then, shall we begin? Nope, not that one. Yes, this one. Alright. Let's see. The game capture. Thank you. Wonderful. Let's not waste any more time. I suspect it will be a bit of a shorter stream tonight, but hopefully a pleasant one nonetheless. Now let's see, where were we? Oh right, yeah, speaking of new appetites, there's sometimes something left over which must be buried again, but one can be efficient. Our appetite is slaked, and we remember something from the dead flesh, something shameful. Not all private pleasures are suitable for public discussion. I believe I shall discuss it with Miss Nenya when I find the time, but in the meantime, what to study? I think let's learn a new language, Sanskrit. Guardside's Sanskrit Reader, a lucid book which outlines a careful path through the thickets of a vast and complex language. The name has been translated as the refined language. And dreaming of a way to the stag door. Although no, actually. Since we have gone down with an affliction, let us waste no time in healing it. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I'm being poisoned. And our work at Glover & Glover continues. If Glover & Glover had a heart, it would be the accounts department, where the money flows like the tides of spring. Its limbs would be its brisk, hushed administrators and clerks. But I sit with the other directors at the peak of its skull, safe, for now, from scandal and financial concerns. Yes, let's keep it like that for a while. At least until we have accrued a safe cushion of funds. Then we can once again dedicate ourselves to more scandalous pursuits. A new acquaintance, very nice. And let's see here. We have found quite a few places to discover. Mostly in the Shires and also on the continent. Let's see to expanding our reach beyond that. Speaking of which, the Wanderschaft collection, a cramped little museum in a provincial town, long closed to the public since an outbreak of a peculiar rapture in the town, where they keep pressed flowers. Only the very curious would ever pay attention to the place, and its close, warded storeroom of ill-omened treasures. Yes, I believe there's a curse on that place, so we should tread carefully. In the meanwhile, let's empty out Morland's shop. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. Let's see, a bunch of atmospheres, a bunch of influences rather, that will decay into dread in the case of winter. Oh well. And our appetite has once again risen. The hunger that grows in the dark earth. The taste. The particular taste. The taste which is neither fair nor foul. It comes to trouble my mouth again. My tongue will swell, my lips will blacken. The elixir has set its spores within me, and only dead flesh can quell them. We've gained another aspect of the graveyard mouth. Let's see to quelling it as soon as possible. We still have some time before this graveyard becomes inaccessible. And we've found De Horis, Book 1, in Latin, a 19th century reprint by the indefatigable Nathaniel Darcy Evers of a 14th century Latin translation of a 4th century work. Dear Lord, even without seeing the color of the book, that kind of wacky nonsense already clues us in that this is Moth. I mean, what else would it be? Alright, let's send Elridge out to acquire some more delicacies for us. A stealthy excavation by the soft light of a hooded lantern. Improve my Sanskrit. So many words, such little time. I will keep my reference works close at hand. Sanskrit, the holy tongue of the subcontinent, the door to 4,000 years of poetry, ceremony, and mystery now opens before us, if we can struggle through the lotus convolutions of its vocabulary. Alright, and I think... yes, let's read this entry work into Fucine, the journal of Alessandra Lacroche, who spent years in secret study on the tablets taken from the Fucine marches in central Italy. His work will allow us to decipher Fucine texts. It has something in common with Latin and something else in common with the scratchings of maddened rats. Sickbed grows stale and tired, and we are free again. Nice. Alright. Then let us dream of the stag door. And we've found someone new. Laidlaw, an acquaintance. A tinkerer and a mechanic with an uncanny knack. Unsurprisingly, he has great promise for Forge inside of him. Let's see. Speaking of Forge, let us actually promote Valsiana here. And let us use this icy atmosphere before it decays into dread. Oh, and also, not to forget, this memory here. Before we forget it, we should probably bother Miss Nenya about it. The shovel strikes wood. That's a good sign. If the coffin is too far rotted, usually the remains are scant. We gain some mystique from these unseemly actions, but also what we came for. A human corpse. The spirit is departed. At some point, the smell will be so bad you'll have to dispose of it, but here it is for now. It may attract attention, it may be used to impress the impressionable, and we may use it to quell our appetites. And now let us once again attend the auction house of Oriflamme. And what is on offer here? The burning of the unburnt god. Not what we're looking for, but it's worth bidding on anyways, I think. We have funds to spare, after all. Now, once this is over, we should waste no time beginning our feast ere our delicacy decays. In places it overlaps with languages I know. In other places, well, I can see why they call it the tongue of witches. but I can understand it well enough now. A people lived east of the lost lake 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐭𝐲. Horace warned that theirs was the land of witches. This was their language, called by some the dry tongue, and by others the tongue of witches. We don't actually have any 𝐓𝐴 texts to translate yet, but I'm sure it'll come in useful in time. And now, let us once again use the elixirs 𝐓𝐵oim, that formula which quickens the memories of decaying flesh in the bellies of the living. Such a thing could not exist without the consent of both the flower maker and the legiist, with the assistance of one more hour besides. I don't know which one that would be exactly, but sure. Feast upon a remnant. Once again my appetite rises, flecked once again with shivers of revulsion. Right, we've won the auction. And have gained the Burning of the Unburnt God, compiled by Hosty Tasmain from Oriental Traditions in rural Persia. God, what is going on with my pronunciations this night? Oh well. Maybe all the corpse flesh is getting to me. Or maybe it's something else entirely. Ah, a forgotten chronicle. Right at the stag door's entrance. Last night, Girby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. Nice, nice, nice. More forgotten chronicles, always welcome to see. And let's descend right away again. Entering the stag door. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head, Girby, weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Let's see here. Our believer is promoted, 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐴ne, now a disciple. 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐴ne is not a machine. We are reasonably confident of that because she has been observed, now and then, to commit quite human errors. Reasonably sure of that. As with all Forge followers, it's a bit hard to tell sometimes. And what do we have here? De bellis murorum. Yes, let's bid on that. Well, the glory is the question, and the moth always answers yes. Alright, let us speak to Miss Nenya now. A painting of a dark-skinned woman with snow-colored eyes and close-cropped ivory-colored hair. She stands before a small marble tomb overgrown with star jasmine. The painting is signed Jonas B. Munch, 1811. Miss Nenya waits with a patience that is the patience of images. Share a memory of secret sin with Miss Nenya. Today, Miss Nenya's eyes are almost sly. Well, I guess in a sense you could say glory is violence. I think especially followers of Edge would believe in that, but to other doctrines, glory would mean something else. The glory is light above all else. At least so would followers of the Lantern say. But the Lantern is called the Glorious Lore, so they would probably know more than most. I mean, yes, violence is the question, and the question is yes. Right, we've once again gained a shameful memory from the flesh. Let's see what we get from it from Miss Nenya. If it's not something we necessarily have much use for, then this one I think we'll use on the medium job instead, but let's wait and see first. Let's read the Wainscot Histories, subtitled Stories from Behind the Walls, a miscellany of non-traditional histories compiled by William Gore, including battles not generally acknowledged and countries which appear on no map, told in a playful, apparently fictional manner. Gore does not mention the Mansus directly, but constant coy metaphorical references to ascending the staircase of years, to the doors of sleep, and to the blue light of dawn suggests that he had commerce with the unseen world. He's trying to keep it on the down low, I think, to not attract the attention of a certain bureau. I mean, all kinds of people are immortalized in the Mansus, but yes, usually the path towards that leads to somewhat unseemly methods. There's always a cost, there's always a sacrifice. And few people are proud of what they do to gain immortality. Miss Nenya says nothing, but I realize later the same idea must have occurred to both of us. We could use this as leverage against someone in authority. Alright, so sharing something shameful with Miss Nenya gives us a favor from authority. Speaking of authority, do we even have a hunter on this board? My god, I think we don't have any hunters yet. Damn, okay. I mean, I'll take it. Oh man, I love Full Metal Alchemist, though. I guess that's not much of a surprise, considering where we are right now. Promise I didn't. I don't think I've eaten any hunters yet. Yeah, I think we have just... Oh no, wait, here he is. Okay, that makes sense. He was just busy working. That's why we could not see him. Also, let's speed this up a little bit. Let's see, a scent of knives, painted river. A painted river. Erudition, a lesson learned. The painted river runs from a great chamber near the white door, far through the Mansus to its far edge where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath rust-red sails. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty, and close hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. Do we... Okay, no, we don't really need the lesson learned because we've already attained a rarefied mind, but it can still be useful for certain other things. It does give us 2 lantern aspect, among others. And lasts quite a while. Well, preparing the dinner is what the elixir Zaboim is for. Also, speaking of appetites, one of the people I live together with just baked some chocolate cookies and cheesecake, and oh, heavenly. Just dark chocolate chip cookies with peanut butter filling. That's, oh man, that's the stuff. Alright, Wainscot histories. It was common in that time to speak of the division of the sun, by which contemporaries understood the eruption of barbarian forces and of their uncouth gods. Yes, yes, of course, not a literal division of the sun, wink wink, nudge nudge. Alright, the burning of the unburnt god. Tasmane hypothesizes... Is this a oh god. A pre-Zoroastrian fire deity whose rites were the rites of smiths. I think Zoroastrian means Babylonian. I'm not sure though. So, very old. Oh, another bitter. Honestly, this isn't really worth 3 funds, but I hate losing auctions, so sunk cost fallacy it is. Ah, nice, good to know. Alright, a scent of knives, painted river. Let's go with the knives this time. And as it turns out, we were right in doing that. The Ascent of Knives is called the Sharp Stair and the Mother of Mirrors and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair, as I did last night in my dreams, one understands that last name. It draws a tithe of blood from the feet of those who ascend. Impuzai, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stairs to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach. I made no sound. I only observed. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of material wealth and pride. Well, I mean, we are digging up graveyards to eat corpses, so we take what we can get in that department. The auctioneer makes a note of my name and signals one of the attendants. I have my price. I hope it's worth it. Again, not really, but whatever. We have the money to burn. In Latin, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Solipsistos. No, Solipsistos. There we go. Also, I just realized we can learn Latin from Count Jannings, and we have one Spintria, so... Didn't we already read this one? Who knows. Well, I mean, at least it's knives, and not the ascent of paper cuts. That would be nightmarish. We could also fulfill one of these commissions, at least this one. Yeah, sure, why not? Tasmane ultimately concludes with apparent reluctance that the deity was a goddess. He suggests that its gender may have been the cause of its suppression. The rites described are often eerie, sometimes grisly. Interesting. Goddess. Oh yeah. Was the Forge of Days... I thought the Forge of Days was a he, but I'm not sure anymore. I mean, it is the Mansus, so dimensions might do border on the extreme usually, so... But something Even though there is no rational reason to believe this, something tells me that even paper-thin knives wouldn't be quite as unpleasant as paper itself. It probably would be, but still, something in me clings to that notion. But now, let's study Latin with a tutor. If I need to learn Latin, here's one who will help. But I'll need to pay in spintrie, the currency of the hidden world. Yes, Count Jannings. Count Gottlob Jannings represents a continental confraternity of physicians and duelists. He has offered us a commission, and his services in learning Latin. This will be sufficient. I'll listen carefully. I think in some writing, it's an hour, so it's ambiguous at the best of times. I mean, I think I've also had the luck of not being cut by paper in quite some time, but from as long as it may be, I do remember being cut with paper, and it is usually a lot more unpleasant than a knife, strangely enough. In Introduction to Histories, the 17th century mystic and antiquarian Claude Hersault describes divergent incidents in 5 major histories. This book is actually pretty useful if you like to get into the lore, because it is, as the title suggests, an introduction to histories, giving you a basic overview, if you read it, of the 5 histories. I mean, the sister and witch and sister are obviously gendered. I've also almost exclusively heard the moth referred to as a he. The mother of ants, of course, a she. I think, the mare in the tree was a she, and the elegiast was a he. The grail, I'm not so sure anymore. Let's see, what do we have here? Orchid Transfigurations volume. Wait a second, don't we? Oh no, this is volume 3. Let's complete the set then. Ah, a new acquaintance. Elizabeth, an acquaintance. Elizabeth has always been most comfortable by moonlight. She has excellent night vision. She is often overlooked in daylight. Another moth follower, or potentially at least. Let's see, who to speak of next. Oh, we should also use this before it decays. Yes, actually, why not keep speaking of esoteric matters? Stag door, once again. Yeah, I really love, just in general, almost, or basically all of the follower descriptions. They're so, they're some of the better ones, especially seeing how they evolve. And then in addition also, the ever afters. The auctioneer makes a note, yes. A 16th century alchemical fever dream attributed to Robert Flood, frequently banned for the disturbing allure of its illustrations. This is the original Latin. So, I think we have all of them now. Orchid Transfigurations 1, 2, and 3. And since we are about to learn how to speak Latin, yeah, big moth energy. I also feel myself drawn to moth. As an artist, I think that's in some cases only natural. Little wars, great intrigues, cryptic priesthood, mystic crimes, all past now. But what traces did they leave? A forgotten chronicle, A story of a city without a gate, of a queen who was not born, of a war which was not fought. Let's see here. Right. The commission. So I should move these a little bit further down so that we can now place the completed commission up here. And after we work at the board, not to forget to use this memory before it decays. The language of Lucertius on the nature of things, of Aquinas Summa Theologia, and of the notorious De Horis. Latin, a dead language, dead as diamonds. Alright then, let's translate the orchid transfigurations one by one. Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea in Moth of, first of all, the constant change, and also the idea of seeking the fire even though you know it's burned. Because to me, I think, to me at least, that does speak to like a fundamental truth of what it is like to be an artist. You know, solar temptation, flying too close to the fire, to the sun, of it, losing yourself in the obsession. Right, and we now finally have a forbidden epic. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. Which I think means that is supposed to mean that certain wars feature in almost every history. And, you know, by the time of the game, one of them has been quite recent. Yeah, it's actually... I don't think it's ever actually revealed in which history the game takes place, and I think the implication is that different playthroughs take place in different histories. Or, of course, if you take the histories as literal, then you could say that it takes place in all of them and none of them, because the histories are the past and there is only one present. Alright, we also wanted to read an introduction of histories, speaking of histories. And now, a clandestine consultation. My reputation as a performer is ruined. My reputation as an oracle is only begun. But the authorities have their eye on me. Yeah, I mean, it is a large part of the intrigue of this game. Key Hunter's Garret. Vienna is one of those few cities which has the same name in every history, although adepts know it as the White City, or perhaps the City of the White. In a snowy street, in a crooked house, in a high and rattling attic, we have learned that an eccentric hunter of imaginary keys has established a tiny trove of odd books. Interesting, interesting. And I think that means... No, wait, this isn't technically a place on the continent, so maybe there's still one more. Let's find out. The Orchid Transfigurations Volume 1, A Feast. The first volume of a compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian, no idea what that word means, allegories, supposedly by Robert Flood. This is a later English translation. And by later English translation, we mean we just translated it. But first, I think let's read Hersault's Introduction to Histories. The prologue warns at length of the iniquities of one Julian Cosley, a former colleague who Hersault now describes darkly as a worm of worms. It seems Cosley advised her so early in the writing of the book, but Hersault later became suspicious. Moving the chat. I don't think I know what you refer to, so probably overlooked that. Oh, I suspect you mean because it is kind of over the interface. Right, sure, let's... I mean, we can always just do this here. Ta-da! Is a spiritual and cultural movement that arose in early modern Europe in the early 17th century after the publication of several texts announcing the world as a new esoteric order. Interesting. Thank you, Emmy Fire. I do always love how this game's world is structured, because they often use words in the writing or references to historical works that even if you don't know about, add like a richness to the world, and if you do know about them, you get like the added context that real world history adds to the world of the game. There's like several deep dives I've gone into with the game where I'm like, oh, so that's why it's called that, or something like that. It's always nice to see how much thought really went into crafting really in every corner of the secret histories. Right, I think last time we were on the Painted River, so let's go back to the Ascent of Knives. A furious air. On the place my dreams took me that last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far, the pain was too great. When I awoke, that pain remained with me. A pain I could employ to occult purposes if I hurry. A furious air. Anger is implicit in every shape. A 10th order influence, a gathering knot of power and peril. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. Yes, I can move all over. Woo. Anyways. Now, let's see here. That favor of authority is going to decay into nothingness, I think, like most of them ultimately do. But, I mean, it's better not to have, it's better to have a favor and not use it than to need a favor and not have it. Foreman House. Ah, so there were more places left here. Philip Foreman, a hermetologist and antiquarian, did all his best work here at the family home until the day his subjects escaped. The infestation was destroyed, but Foreman, they say, walks the halls to this day, guarding his library and his shame. Interesting, interesting. Alright, you can technically explore with this because it's secret histories, but it won't net you anything. What to explore? Have we accrued any appetite? No, we haven't. Good. The auction house, then. We have here the 6 letters on necessity. Sure. Herso identifies blood, silver, design, and the worms as the central axes of each of the histories, and claims that the so-called second history is the true one. Interesting. And it called scrap? Not that we have too much use of it, but whatever. And let's continue in our translation of the Orchid Transfigurations. Volume 2 now. Lock the study door. The work begins. Forgotten Chronicle. Sure, let's take it. Why not? Also, I think we might need slightly more than this, but we might be able to ascend even further soon. An affliction, but we have enough to buy plenty of medicine. 6 letters on necessity, warnings and confessions about the cost of the invisible arts, addressed to a student by the 17th century magus and reputed immortal 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐭𝐲. Ah, the aforementioned 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐭𝐲, the one her soul warned about. Interesting, interesting. True and complete accounting of the Asclepian mysteries of the roots of the house. Reproduced by one real Greece from supposedly a much older text in Greek. Sure. What we're really looking for in the auction house is 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐿, the short film, but or the silent film rather, but we'll take anything else in the meantime as well. The Orchid Transfigurations Volume 2, A Birth, the second volume of a compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian allegories, supposedly by Robert Flood. This is a later English translation. The 16th century. Oh yeah, that does line up roughly with the historical Rosicrucian word, the historical meaning of that word. Another bidder, but we have funds to burn aplenty. I was thinking about how this game has significance, but it could be more than a... Yeah, they do have official mod support now with the 6th history. Though, to be fair, I haven't really checked many of the mods out. Maybe I should, because I think some of them would be quite useful for stream. Like, I think one of them gives you a log, which is like probably the biggest feature I wish the base game had. Just a log of every piece of text that you come across, because it is sometimes pretty easy to miss something if you click without thinking. But we have found someone new. 𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿, as she styles herself, earns a living as a stage medium and a fortune teller. She may have deeper talents. Always a welcome face. And... oh yeah, also we have 𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 here. 𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 has a scholarly aspect and a morbid streak. Hold on. How did I sort this? Yeah, let's resort these things a bit, because I'm noticing that my lore and my followers don't really line up when, I mean, they could pretty easily. We have the hangers on here, Elridge here, Then we put eclair here, heart here, grail here, moth, lantern, forge, and knock. We may have to move this up as we accrue more followers, but I think for the moment this is reasonable. Da, 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 da. There we go. No, hold on. This goes here, here. Keep getting messed up. So much lore, so much lore. There we go, at long last. Ah, much better. Now it's all properly lined up. No real purpose for lining all of this up anymore because, I mean, I do know what all of them are dedicated to by heart, but I just like the symmetry. And speaking of followers, let's attract a few more. How much more do we have on that erudition? I think there is enough time here if we study the glorious lore right now, once this is finished, to still use that erudition. Ooh, more followers. And hotkey tabs. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. The Orchid Transfigurations Noon, the third volume of a compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian allegories supposedly by Robert Flood. This is a later English translation. Alright, so study the glorious lore. There is a proverb among the practitioners of the invisible arts. Glory visits the house without walls. I would like to know about glory. We have two unmerciful mantras. Mercy, saith the watchman, is found only in shadow. We need this erudition and our skill of a rarefied mind for this. Hopefully this won't decay before we need it. Ah, new patron, it seems. We were on the ascent last time, so let's go to the dammit fascination. But I think we don't have to worry about it anytime soon. Glover and Glover. I think once we hit like 100 to 120 funds, I'll start exploring again. But before that, I think there's no real need. God damn it, I forgot to bid. Damn it. I hope that wasn't stumm, because that would, I'm gonna be upset if that was stumm and I just missed it. Ah, Popular Cell. Another patron, but one whose services I make use of pretty infrequently because, I mean, like, she doesn't give me that much money, and I would like to use my followers for other stuff. So, let's, sure, speak again of the esoteric. A Forgotten Chronicle, or trying our luck and maybe get a Forbidden Epic. Haha! Greed pays off. The stag door opens. There's a great chamber in the mansus through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hands last night. There are fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Another forbidden epic, very nice. Which will allow us to find locations in the land beyond the forest. Or, as it's called in its native tongue, Transylvania. God, I forgot to bid again. Oh my god. Alright, this time I deliberately didn't bid, because... yeah, exactly. The glory, is the light that shines from the very peak of the mansus. And usually our destination, but in this case, I think... I don't know if that's actually our destination with the dedication to remembrance. Who knows? Illumination. We could use the fascination, but let's use the rarefied mind again instead. And why did I bid on that? I already know Greek. Ah, whatever. Work at Glover and Glover, yes. Alright, that reminds me, we should quell our appetite relatively soon again. Because, yes, we have 2 modes of appetite now, so let's get to fixing that. Yes, it is said, I think, in one of the lores of Lantern that each hour has its color, but color is only visible in light, which harkens back to a similar principle, I would say. Though I think, because we do have a relatively solid footing right now, we should see to progressing our dedication relatively soon. Because I think we may be also able to perhaps work with this? I don't know. No, we don't need this, we need this. I don't know why I always send Elridge to do this, but I don't know, he just seems kind of like the man for the job. Maybe we should send 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐿 instead once we've recruited her, because, well, she is winter, so I mean that would make kind of sense. Let's see, right, do we want to start reading one of these? Or... alright, we've also upgraded this finally. A Fenian invocation. The door in the eye navigates. He is not merciful, but first and always he illuminates. Yeah, use this in a rite with a knock tool and a thrilling air, or resources of equal power, to summon a hint from behind mirrors. When I first saw this in my very first playthrough, or one of my first playthroughs, I thought this meant that, you know, I could use a ritual to gain a hint on what to do next. I didn't know that a hint was a creature that you could summon. So I was like, oh, will this tell me what to do next? And like, oh no, this is a monster. What did I do? Anyways, good times, good times. A great work. The final fulfillment of a desire is often a conclusion. It is not enough to hope. I stand or fail on my deeds. Desires are often the means of winning a game. The desire for sensation or power or enlightenment will require a great ritual, but there are other even rarer desires, especially in the Ghoul Priest and Dancer expansions, of course. So, what else can we do with our desire? Of course, use it to slake our... Yeah, it is, basically a Mansa's creature that dwells behind mirrors. But when I first played the game, I took that quite literally. The name of Hint. So yes, anyways, let's first quell our hunger. And then let's do it again. Quickly, before the detective can steal our snack. And now, I'm curious. Approaching the spider's door, in my dreams the silken sands are the place that whispers. Grey grains sift, grey weeds quiver. I have read on the angular tracks one must follow, of the sands arched, unseen, slow-stepping residents. Arched, unseen, slow-stepping residents. The spiders, I assume. The trembling in the air. But I think we should be relatively fine. Feast upon a corpse. There is sometimes something which must be left, something left over which must be buried again, but one can be efficient. Something joyful. I think that only gives us contentment if we talk to it about it with Miss Nenya, but instead, let's write, we have another corpse, and I think because, yes, this will give us another piece of appetite, let's get another one right after that. Oh, wait, no. Wait, what? We got restlessness, but... Huh, interesting. Okay, so it didn't increase our hunger, but we did get restlessness. Strange, but sure. Well then, we'll have to eat, this corpse anyway, because otherwise the detective is gonna find it. But he can't use this evidence if we eat it. Approaching the spider's door, the sands drain away like water, and beneath is the stone from which gods arose so long ago. Ahead is the door, glistening like rain, its black surface beaded with blood. Each drop heavy curved like a swollen tick. Way the spider's door. In my dreams I found the way to the spider's door, sometimes called the bloody gate, or, more informally, the wrong door. We don't quite have the price. I mean, maybe that is what we're doing, but I think we're not quite as refined as Sweeney Todd, which is Gulp it down regularly. Now let's see. Right, the auction house. Ah, there it is, there it is. Stumm. Finally. You know, a classy cannibal. A classy corpse eater. Spider's door. I mean, we can't really go there yet, so instead... let's... no, not the white door. The stag door. Sure. We could also start abducting hirelings. Something menacing. The great mercy of dreams is that they do not often intrude into waking life. Interesting. Let's first talk to Miss Nenya about something unexpected, because I think this one will give us a random item. And then something joyful we'll use work on, and then something menacing, I think, Miss Nenya again. I mean, yes, from a certain point of view, but at least all non-herbivores are corpse eaters to some extent, but usually not of the same species. And I mean, yes, that too, though I think usually people eat corpses once they have already been properly digested by the earth. Right, let's actually get to reading now, the Orchid Transfigurations. The illustrations are certainly striking. They flush the skin and glow beneath the eyelids after the book is closed. Quite alluring. The auctioneer makes a note of my name and signals one of the attendants. I have my price. I hope it's worth it. That it certainly is, because this little baby will give us the sunset right. Stumm. A can of nitrate film labeled Stumm, silent or perhaps mute. The director's name, Jenrik Krosse, is shakily appended. Alright, now that we have what we came for here, let's return to Morland's shop. And I think we soon will also head... well, maybe, oh, refulgin. Cool. We already used up our previous can of refulgin, so this is quite welcome. And let's talk with her about something menacing. Share a menacing memory with Miss Nenya. Her eyes are watchful. So let's see what this gives us. Now, speaking of menacing, I think my lights just flickered. What we have here is on the white. I mean, at this point, the books we get from Morland's shop aren't that valuable, but I mean, partially I'm just trying to empty it out to eventually get access to it as a potential new hideout. And because we don't really have much else to do while we're... damn it, fascination. I dreamt of the mansus behind the white door, of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships passed upon the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layered movement of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colors still. Yeah, maybe, eye drops for a restful sleep, otherwise the light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. Or something like that. Yes, yes. Shush now. Luckily, we only have bleak thoughts here, and that will give us... I mean, we already have that fleeting reminiscence, so no need to worry, really. What I'm interested in is what this will let us. Miss Nenya says nothing, but I remember long afterwards how her eyes flashed. Arousing air, the passions are aroused, a sixth-order influence, the signs are unmistakable. Alright, so something menacing gives us influence. That's... I mean, at this point in the game we don't really have a need for influence, so let's also use that one in the future for our medium job. Yeah, I mean, the orchid transfigurations, I think, leave very little to the imagination, though. Or maybe they do, I don't know. We must devour to be devoured. We cannot be undevoured, as we cannot be unborn. Glimmering and a red secret. Some words are spelt correctly only when the proper ink is used. Now, let's move on to Volume 2. Flood, or pseudo-flood, suggests alignments between the alchemical tradition of Rubedo and the older Grail traditions through the Pine Knight's quest for the Cinnabar Cup. Pine Knight, interesting. We know of the Sage Knight. Pine Knight, have I heard that name elsewhere? I'm not sure. But Cinnabar Cup does sound vaguely familiar. But maybe I'm just imagining that. Or maybe it sounds familiar because I've read that book before. Talk. Who to talk to? A new acquaintance, hopefully. Latin? Okay, that's not very useful to us. Oh well. We also slowly move towards having enough funds where we can quit our job at Glover, or at least no longer prioritize it. Alright, Morelands. Although, I mean, we do have 2 forbidden epics now, so why not explore one of them? Uncover locations in the land beyond the forest. Those stories that have been forbidden are the ones most apt for us to read. William Gore. Yes, esoteric matters. No, esoteric matters only gives you mystique, not notoriety. Damn it. Alright, Furious Air. I should have gone with the Painted River, I guess. Hold on. Yeah, no, okay, that does nothing. We can only put that there, I think, because it's technically lore, but, I mean... I wonder, does that mean you can... If it's lore, then that means... Let's see here. We can study lore, we can talk about lore, of course. Interesting. Yeah, only pain. Third of all, oh damn it, I forgot to, yeah, in cases like that having a log would be useful. Oh well. Now all that's left is the final volume. A long dialogue between the Mountain Mother and the Vigilant Storm describes the ways in which both mountains and storms end, and the protections they use against those ends. Which both mountains and storms ends. Okay, so this one is probably going to be heart then instead of grail. If it's talking about protection. Alright, almost at 100, and I think once we are there... Oh, damn it, I should have... Oh well. Visions it is, I suppose, but... we'll survive. The Kustenov Endowment. Prince Kustenov gave 1/4 of his blood-soaked fortune to the establishment of a department of eschatology? I'm not sure. At his provincial university, the staff have grown peculiar now, and the buildings fester in a freezing swamp. But some of Kuznetov's bequest, perhaps, was spent on treasures. The storm who is approaching? Question mark. Explore Moreland shop. Bit modest, but perhaps that's what we want. Another erudition lesson. And now let's... Right, this will... I mean... Probably not the best idea to keep going along the Painted River, because I know we can get more fascination through that. But, I mean, there's other ways to go through the Stag Door. Ah. Sadly, no one to find this time around. I mean, we could use the peculiar rumor, but, oh well. But we must use the knife, said the lion-thorned one, the noose, the flame, the waking word, against those who have passed the three-valved door. And so none may pass, that is our law, and the law of the sun. The lion-thorned one, the noose, the flame, the waking word, against those who have passed the three-valve door. The three-valve door, of course, being the the top gate. The let me 1 second. The tricuspid gate. There we go. And now, because I've returned to desktop, let me there we go. And a thunderous secret. There are common sentiments in every thunderclap. Let us acknowledge them. Yes, I mean, I think the tricuspid gate is like a reference to heart valves or something. Yes, indeed. That, was, a side effect of me returning to my desktop, which is the Mansus, so that I may use it as reference to read the name of the tricuspid gate. Yes. But as a consequence of that, I also banished my likeness. Alright, 90 funds, almost time to get that bag and get away. The film rattles through the projector, glows silently on the wall. It is the story of a foolish student of forbidden sciences who recruits a dancer to entice the dead back into the world through a flaw in its skin. It's a fiction, but here on a title card is laid out the operation of the declining sun. Very good, very useful. A collection of essays, less useful, because, you know, we already have the rarefied mind, but oh well. Each book we purloin from Moreland's shop is one more step to getting it as a base of operations. I haven't played Limbus Company, but what I have started playing is Lobotomy Corporation. That one I did get a while ago while it was on sale, and very recently I've started playing it. It is quite nice. Yes, it does have a tendency. Oh, damn it! I forgot to use something joyful here. Oh well. Next time. The hunger that grows in dark earth. How much of that do we have? Okay, just one. That's good, that's good. Another essay. And, right, so remember, not the Painted River. Good thing that we didn't go there, because that would have been a bit bad. And luckily, I'm pretty sure Stumm here is about to give us some dread, which will quell our visions. Paintings whisper, windows wink. I know these things are not true, but how can I be certain? Right, we also still have those 6 letters on necessity. And stag door. Stag door. There we go. Yeah, but in Lobotomy Corp, some of the anomalies I currently have are the shrimp vending machine. What else do I have? The tome of skin. What else? The floating skull. The floating skull called, what was it called? 1 sin and 100 good deeds, I think was the name. Then the strange frequency one. The fairies, and that vampiric tree, and yeah, 100 1 sin, 100 good deeds is very useful. Though, I think on the first day someone went insane while going inside there, and I didn't have any white damage weapons yet, so I sadly had to them. Oh, hello Earl of Rats, good to see you again. As you can see, we've progressed a little bit. Mostly on covering our bases. We're still working at Glover and Glover, but not for much longer. I think once we've accrued a comfortable cushion of 100 funds, we'll start doing some more risky stuff again, which, you know, means that inevitably we'll probably lose our job there. But oh well. The right is depicted in chilling detail. Here is the flaw in the world, an influence shimmering in luminous paint. Here is the dancer establishing an irresistible rhythm. Here the scholar recites the operation, and now the misty dead whirls through the flaw to consume him. The film closes on the dancer's watchful eyes. Had she intended it all from the start? An operation of the declining sun. This invokes, acknowledges, and welcomes the passage to silence. And, the thing we're here for, the sunset rite. An assistant must cry tears of genuine emotion, which are asperged in the place where the influence lies. If all is done well, the sun in rags will consume the influence, acknowledge an ending, and lend its assistance. I like having this right because it is very useful at getting maids in the mirror. Yeah, exactly. I think it was just bad luck, or I used the wrong operation on it. I'm not quite sure anymore. But currently I'm like on day 7-ish, so not that far into the game yet. Yeah, certainly, because or consuming lore in the case of Watchman's Sorrow. That's why I don't really like these two, because, you know, assistance and lore is both a somewhat limited supply, so I prefer to use Sunset Rite, or there's some others later on that are also quite good because you can use Spintrier for them. And like one of them I use usually to summon King Crucible with just a bronze Spintrier, which is pretty good value for what you're getting. But in the meantime, let's study the 6 letters on necessity. Cosley's tone is urgent, as if he suspected he might have little time left. I wonder, are these addressed to her soul? It wouldn't be impossible. We don't know if Hasso was a student of his, but we do know they worked together for a time, but then had a falling out. Wrapped in the King, detailed accounts by James Colin Murphy of secret bacchanals and ecstatic dances observed in necropolises and graveyards in southern Europe, in Egypt and in Anatolia. The author is a self-confessed ghoul, an eater of buried flesh. He claims to have witnessed the dances while at his feastings. A ghoul? An eater of buried flesh? How curious. I don't think such a thing would really exist. I mean, who would ever do such a thing? I mean, who would ever... Oh yeah, though, I do, it is sometimes, it does sometimes feel in Lobotomy Corp that, I mean, it's kind of the same thing that happens here, that sometimes the, errant, throw of the dice will just completely mess you up for no real apparent reason, but, I mean, I guess that's part of the experience. But yeah, I really, I am also the kind of guy who really, like, just, likes, well, I mean... Oh yeah, I also just remembered the fucking... the mummy eating in Victorian England. Oh my god, I just remembered that. People actually did that, like, at parties. Oh my god. Yeah, I confess I have, restarted 1 or 2 days. 1 second, let me... I will attempt to nourish my throat with this water if I can manage to open this bottle. Perfidious bottle cap! Slickened. I do have a glove here, that should help. One moment. Aha. Ah, much better. Ah, sweet nectar. Always good to have a glove beside you in case you ever need to challenge someone to a duel, I suppose. Or open a bottle in this case. Alright, I think... What was that noise? Did I imagine that? Who knows? Yeah, I mean, managing multiple ticking time bombs is kind of what we're already doing here, so I am very familiar with the concept at least, if nothing else. Forgotten Chronicle, or let's... I'm greedy. Yes! The stag door opens. Right, we've already read that fairly recently, so no need to deal. I mean, for the moment, yes, but there are also, especially if you're going at it a bit more hastily, moments in Cultist Sim that can be a little bit stressful. Alright, I think I am looking to call it in the somewhat near future, but I think we'll wait until we've hit the milestone of 100 funds. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I will, though. That's true. That's that is kind of true, that this game is more of a... There are like 100 ways you can die, and you only know 10 of them. New acquaintance, Slee. Craig Slee, the astronomer and avant-garde poet, has developed an interest in the esoteric as his health wanes. He was, if I do recall, a lantern follower. Yeah. Though, what I do like about this game, because at the start everything feels like it's pure chance, and then as you learn more, you kind of find out, that yes, it is a lot up to chance, and nothing is really guaranteed, but there are so many ways to shift the odds in your favor. Like, for example, I don't think there is a single activity that guarantees contentment, but there are dozens that you can get with a chance of contentment, and if you do all of them, the chance is basically guaranteed that at least one of them will. Library, which one was that again? Because, I mean, Limbus Company was the gacha that I did see. Which one was library again? No, not the white door, the stag door. Ah, Library of Ruina. Maybe I'll look at that one too. Deck builder, interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll look at that, because while I am kind of tempted by Limbus, I will confess I am very much not an enjoyer of gacha games, which, like, it's not so overwhelming that I can't have fun with them, but it is to the point where it usually tarnishes the experience for me a little bit, even with ones that are very non-predatory. I don't know, it's just like, as a game mechanic, something I don't really find very enjoyable. Which is, it's kind of weird because I enjoy this game so much, but usually I just, like, RNG games aren't really my thing, which is, yeah, exactly. Earl of Rats, that's kind of what I love about this game too, because it's also very, what's the word? Ludonarratively harmonic, because at the same time as you're learning how to bend the game's rules to your will, your character is learning how to bend the rules of the mystic world to their will. And having those epiphanies and of now I understand how this works, now I can finally know how to channel these rights. And you feel like you're going mad as your character is also going mad. Study. What to study? Queens of the Rivers, probably not. Wrapped in the King, why not? The dances draw from the traditions of the mysteries and of the cult of Isis and Cybele, but include both symbolic and literal flayings. Oh, symbolic and literal flayings. And the human heart is always central in the rites. The author punctuates his accounts with queasily sensuous descriptions of his own interrupted feasts. I mean, I have a feeling our character probably doesn't have the biggest issue with those descriptions because, you know. And actually, because we have 2 acquaintances here, let's recruit 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐦𝐦, why not? What do we use? A sexton's secret should be enough. Oh, we've grown sick. What was this? Reason. Old, unhappy, far off things. Contentment. Makers of Danganronpa. Oh, it only lasted 6 months. In the months, did they, like, take down the servers, or what exactly happened to it? 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐦𝐦, a believer, a bright-eyed, watchful woman who recalls her dreams perfectly. Nice. A believer. And Grünwald's permanent circus, a tiny city of patched tents around a whitewashed farm. Hunched performers shiver in the dripping rain. Frau Grünewald has devoted her considerable fortune to the maintenance of this institution. Who knows why? The circus performers dislike trespassers behind the scenes. Well then it's a shame that they're closing down their services. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, yeah, a lot of gacha games do have, like, crazy production values for what is essentially a free game. But at the same time, you know, there's a reason they can afford those production values, and it's, you know, because of the, gacha, the aforementioned gacha. Let's see here. A new graveyard? Yeah, sure, why not? And I mean, at this point, we don't really need more. We don't really need more followers. When I come before Miss Nenya, it seems to me that a pale light plays around her mouth and her eyes. I could use this right away now, but I think I'm gonna save it until I have winter pigment. Ah, okay, interesting. Well, let's hope so. It's always a shame when, like, promising games are snuffed out before they can really get into their own. Ah, Forbidden Epic. Very nice. Now let's waste no time healing this affliction, ere it transform into decrepitude. Wrapped in the king. At these great feasts, a black pig is always crowned as king before its slaying. On this occasion, its heart was weighed in the balance against a knot of feathers, and its skin became a cape for the officiant. Its flesh was left for the crows, but I must confess my interest was not in its carcass, but in the perfumed flesh of the milliner laid fresh in the earth. I mean, relatable for our character, I think. A walking chant. Who could hear this and remain unmoved? The sleeping? The dead? The earth and the sky? It's like, I mean, if you really think about it, heart is just the principle of laying on a sick beat. Yeah, weighing your heart against the feather is part of the Egyptian mortuary cult. Anubis does it. Once he takes you to, once he takes your soul, or once he takes you to the underworld, your heart is weighed against a feather, and I think it has to be in balance, or your heart is devoured by, what was her name? I don't remember, but, basically a crocodile-faced monster. So yeah, the heart and feather thing is part of the Egyptian mortuary cult, though the knot in this case is an addition, probably alluding to the sisterhood of the knot. That arcane contemplative order which existed across all histories. What next? We have quite a bit of Latin books. Ah, a few of them are also a value of tune, so let's read those first. Oh, speaking actually of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot, the Rose of 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐼. The heretical teachings of a disgraced offshoot of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories. This was recorded by 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐼 and dedicated to Saint Respicious. The offshoot favored by 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐼, the true sisterhood, followed Saint Respicious, pursuing ascension in the name of the door in the eye, the merciless hour of light. Saint Respicious failed, perhaps because the larger sisterhood tracked him down and ritually strangled him. But 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐼 outlines steps for those who hope to follow in his footsteps, hope to succeed. A mad person who upturned the world because of sheer boredom. I mean, that doesn't sound too far out of place for this game either. And also very interesting. No, not searching for promising cemeteries, we've already found one. Stealthy excavation by the soft light of a hooded lantern. No, I don't think, strangling is usually, at least as I know, a pretty rare form of ritual, execution, because of, I guess, of how mundane it is. Like, but, oh well. Alright, I think the time has almost come No, damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Yeah, now we have to be careful that the detective here isn't stealing what we've rightfully kidnapped. Let's explore this first. Uncover locations in the land beyond the forest. Those stories that have been forbidden are the ones most apt for us to read. William Gore. Hammer of Dawn satellites. Ah, right. Orbital lasers. I recently watched or rewatched rather, an excellent video essay by the fantastic Jacob Geller about orbital lasers, chiefly, or one of the ones he talks about at length is the Hammer of Dawn, also Soul from Akira. Very interesting video. And also the Strategic Defense Initiative by the by the quite bizarre, what was it called again? Ah yes, Ronald Reagan. His actual real-life proposal of orbital laser platforms that people did actually work on during the Cold War. Or at least purportedly worked on. In reality, yeah. In reality, it wasn't ever going to really happen, but it's kind of interesting how Jacob Geller puts it in the video like this. Even in non-existence, the orbital laser haunts real-life policy. Let's see here. Talk. We don't really have anyone to talk to right now, but I think we're going to in a short while. The Rose of 𝐌𝐦𝐦𝐦. Seek in dreams, seek the mansis. The third mark can be achieved only when one has passed the stag door. One must pass the wood, one must rise to the white door. The stag door awaits the light bearer in the sight of Girby. I mean, that's useful to know, but we do already know it. But the lore is quite appreciated. A mansis glimpse. And now, finally, we work again at 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐿 & and we're past the 100 gold mark. So now it is finally time to get some more friends in here, so to speak. So, what do we have? I think the main thing we'll have to deal with is getting enough winter lore. We need... let's see here. An offering, an influence. We can of course use... oh, right. Can we... ah, okay, no. It has to be Desire 6. So... okay, if we want Maids in the Mirror, we need just a little bit more winter lore. So in that case, let's study on the white. In the meantime, let's send our more mortal followers out on expedition. Yeah, we need to chill a bit more before we can... oh, damn it. Oh. Whatever. I forgot to imbibe before my snack was taken from me. Cave of Candles. Every 7th sunset, the cunning man comes from the village below to renew the candles. The floor of the entrance chamber is a slick of stinking wax. He claims the light keeps the creature below cowed, but more likely the sacrifices he brings keep it too sated to emerge. Interesting. But I think for now we'll explore some more modest places like Crocus Hill here. The ancient tribes reserved this resting place for one who, by the end, in service to a certain merciless hour, was more scar than man. They sealed the entrance with binding songs and mortared blood, so we know there's forge here, or at least a warded door, rather, so we'll need knock or forge. So let's send 𝐓𝐚𝐬𝐦𝐦 here. And let's begin an expedition to Crocus Hill. And let's also recruit 𝐓𝐴𝐻 here. Enough money to transcend. Probably. I mean, I am usually very squanderous with my funds, so a pet crow. Oh right, Crocus Hill. I mean, maybe the beachcomber can hook you up. They are, after all, a very big feathered crow with a skull mask. Painted River, erudition. Let's see. On the white. On closer investigation, the work seems to be a theory of aesthetics, or perhaps a set of warnings about the dangers of painting. Hashira writes distractedly of his hatred of colors and his yearning for death. He hints at a great work he has envisaged, or begun, where the palest of paintings will enthrall the world. He returns again and again to certain compelling phrases which he claims are the secret words of winter. Alright, it's just a sexton's secret. I mean, we could use that, but that would take forever. So, let's hope that, alright, damn it, we can't use that cemetery because... Yeah, I really love crows. Also so incredibly smart. I think besides humans, the only animals that have learned in some specific areas to make their own tools. I think besides humans, they're the only animals capable of tool crafting, which is very impressive. Also, I think it's extremely funny that in most places on Earth, you're legally not allowed to feed specifically crows because they will start stealing things for you in exchange for food. I mean, I would argue the relationship between crows and wolves is more symbiotic than full-on domesticated, but... I mean, I will speak only in exactly 9 words. The novice will speak none at all. 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐻, a believer, 𝐓𝐴𝐻𝐻 has begun to understand the limitations of ingenuity and the power of sacrifice. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, crows... I should probably look up more on, like, crow behavior, because it's always really fascinating, just how just clever they are. I think that's enough, yes. Should we... Here's the question, should we recruit him, should we elevate him right now or send him here to aid? I think we'll send him here. And once this expedition is done, I think we'll also call it for the night. But until then, one last time to through the stag door. Yes, yes. I mean, in that case, that is very much a kindred spirit with the beachcomber who plucks up secrets from the sand. Our tools are ready. We should be able to penetrate this warded door. Oh, damn it. Despair. What can we do against that? More work at Glover and Glover. Thus far, we've been lucky with the notoriety. Lord Franklin Bancroft, Diaries 1750 to 1790. Lord Franklin Bancroft was initiated into the arts of the flower maker by the Rose Witch Fiona Ayrshire. He rose to become a society provider of occult services and secret pleasures before his abrupt disappearance in 1790. Yeah, sure, let's read it right away. Bancroft seems to have been a talented adept, but devoted his energies to frustratingly whimsical projects, arranging grape-fetching races between Mansa spirits, teaching percussigans to juggle, and conjuring storms of imaginary blossoms for the Rose Witch Ayrshire, who resolutely refused to ever couple with him. Bancroft spends 20 pages bemoaning this last. Yeah, I find that description like infinitely charming, but like also just like 20 pages of 20 pages of endless diary entries just bemoaning the fact that she is not interested. Alright, the stack door, we have more Forgotten Chronicle. Not that we, really need it, but, sure. Yeah, just summoning percussigans to teach them how to juggle and just completely... Yeah, again, we love whimsy here. The purpose of doors. Doors have two purposes, to open and to remain closed. Today, this door remains true to its second purpose. Damn it. Logistical difficulties... Actually, hold on. I need to go real quick. I'll be right back. I return. Yes, to answer your question, Earl of Rats, I do indeed currently don't use mods yet, because I assume, mods, hinder you from getting the achievements, and I'm still hunting the last of those down. Oh, I mean, at least I assume that's how it works in this game, because that's how usually it does in others. Also, thank you. Yeah, this, let's see here. This is a painting I've made myself, the influences of which are pretty obvious, I think. But yeah, part of a larger world-building project I aim to explore on stream once more soon. Now, let's hope they'll manage to get through this door this time around. Lord Franklin Bancroft Diaries. The mantra here recorded is a high and exacting magic which can be used to pledge one's spirit to the Watchman, beginning an ascent to the house. Bancroft boasts of his ability to recite it when in his cups. He also had it set to music for a performance with fireworks at Vauxhall Gardens. Interesting. Another unmerciful mantra. That goes here. We do have like an abundance of lantern lore. If only we could say the same about winter. Speaking of which, let's we need knowledge. We do have erudition, although not much of it, of course. So I think what we'll do is we will translate this, and by then, and wait until this erudition lesson learned decays back into erudition. Yeah, I am still working on Shardreach. I am still working on my Inktober art pieces from 2023. But I'm almost done with those. The penultimate piece is soon going to be done. But yeah, I have been keeping busy on that. That reminds me, I should also, speaking also of the Be Right Back and Starting Soon screen, I should, because I want to have a slideshow of some of my artwork there, I should get to reinstating that soon. Yeah. Mercy can be found only in shadows, sadly. Damn it. Actually, let's call it an early night, in-game at least. For the stream, I'm wanna watch at least, I wanna wait until at least we've made it past this hurdle here in the expedition. But doing this hopefully gives us some contentment, so we don't have to worry about this anymore. Alright. This door does not want to yield to our wishes, it seems. Logistical difficulties. Translation of a text. The Rose of Nuriel. A volume of collected teachings of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories, but in some was very powerful indeed. Saint Tryphon, Norel explains, performed secret miracles in the base of She Who Bleeds and Bears, and She Who Opens. Thus Saint Tryphon opened the way to the House of the Sun. Thus Saint Tryphon underwent the Great Birth, an ascension to immortality. So he probably entered service into the service of the Grail. Yeah, I mean, that is certainly one way of opening doors. What was it? What was it again? There are certain keys that open doors. There are others that destroy them. And I suppose a Remington 12 gauge would certainly do the latter, and the former. Right, we wanted contentment, so an early night again. Talk. Any good things to talk about? I mean, not really. If only I had been a little more patient with Laidlaw, then we could have had Forge 10, but I don't think there's a way to recall specific individuals from an expedition. But I guess if they're unsuccessful again, I could just let the expedition fail. Oh, never mind. The death of a door. All doors must open. All lives must end. This door has found its end here today. The Rose of Nuriel. Saint Tryphon began his ascension by passing the horned door. He continued it by learning the invocation Theatic, which Nuriel does not here record on account of its extreme holiness. And, Nuriel explains grimly, to achieve the 7 marks of the Great Birth, Saint Tryphon consumed both those whose soul had left them, and even those in whom the soul remained. An Inguvine rite, and a Megelesian incantation, both of which we already had, but sure. Also, I think we now have enough, or a short enough timer here on the erudition lesson learned. the 4-gauge shotgun made from what was it? An old anti-aircraft. From an old anti-aircraft gun. Yes, I remember. I mean, that would certainly open a door, don't get me wrong. Alright, almost at our destination here. Treasures lie before us. Finally. Into the night. And yeah, we've timed it almost perfectly. Erudition and not much more required. Painted River. The Warrior's End. It is almost possible to stand upright in this place. But the air is foul and our lamps burn low. Here is the warrior king staked out on the funeral stone, his bones smashed to keep him from walking. The orbits of his skull are bound with bronze. Interesting. Ah, finally. Grey Dawn oil, winter pigment. Others have been here before us. Power still lingers, and no doubt they used it in their ceremonies. They have taken some of the warrior king's funeral treasures, but left something of their own. Very nice. A bone flute? Its sound will cease. Useful, but not too useful since we already have the illegibeline manacles, but sure. The Book of the Centipede. In the mid-1800s, one Madame Yi presented an entertainment based, she claimed, on this book. Interesting. Meteoric bullet. Tainite iron bullets are occasionally dug from the skeletons of unusual beasts across Europe, the Middle East, and India. Someone has been hunting monsters. Piebald pigment from the crushed wings of rare lepidopterans, basically butterflies. Painting black or painting white, this is the stuff that'll see you right. And Grey Dawn oil, the precise color of the hours when one cannot sleep. Nice. And I think at this opportunity, we will once again call it for the night. Oh, but before we go, one more treasure. The others who came here all overlooked the secrets locked within the warrior king's corpse. I will not make the same mistake. Right, we are raiding another cemetery, just a significantly older one this time. So of course, while we're there, we might as well, right? But that will have to wait until next time. Until then, it has been my pleasure to be your host again. Exactly, a quick snack. And I wish you all a great night and safe travels. Though, before I go, I once again need to remind myself, raiding is an option that we should take. Oh yes, I have a most worthy raiding target. Salty Jub, an artist among other things. One whose work I much admire. Very nice. So, again, and for real this time, unless I forget something else, good night and safe.